Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Mahboubeh Hashemi, and today we'll be talking about how to thrive in autumn. So a quick disclosure that we do not have as Conscious Human Medicine any financial or commercial interest. This presentation and what I'll be sharing with you is just for information and learning purposes, and it's not to diagnose or treat a health problem, condition, or disease. If you're planning on making any changes to your medication or supplement regimen, please make sure that you speak with your doctor first. In case you don't know me and this is the first time you hear me speak, a little bit about me. I was born in Iran and I grew up in Dubai. My background is in bioengineering from University of California, San Diego. I've worked in the industry in doing engineering work for some years, and then decided to go to medical school. I got my doctorate of naturopathic medicine from Bastyr University, California. And I love learning and constantly learning. That never stops. So I received some specialized training, further training in biofeedback from Bastyr University, HeartMath Institute, and Association for Applied Psychophysiology and Biofeedback. So today we're talking about the role, how can we really thrive and work through the seasonal change. So let's first talk about the change itself, right? The seasonal change can be looked at as a form of stress. So how can we define stress? A physiological, hormonal, mental, emotional response to a change, whether it's internal or external. In this case, we can, look at it as more of an external seasonal change. And so how can we best respond? As always with everything, preparedness is key. We can tackle many areas, and much of what we'll work together today or discuss today will work synergistically together, whether it's lifestyle factors and else. Stacking things up in your favor can lead to exponential results. What do we mean by that? So if I talk, let's say, about 5 different areas, and you take 1 point in each area and start implementing them, over time, it's going to lead to exponential results. Many of the recommendations are practical lifestyle recommendations that will benefit your health regardless of the season. And this is really, really important. And I want to emphasize this because, in order for something to become second nature for you and a habit, we need to make sure that you're doing it and you're doing it consistently. And you will see that as you implement some of these lifestyle factors and otherwise, it's not just for this season, but it's improving your life and your health regardless of what season we're moving through. By establishing healthy habits in your life, you're also modeling it and positively influencing the lives of your family and loved ones. And of course, this is, self-explanatory, but very, very important. So how does change of season affect your body? Well, in order to give your body what it needs, let's first understand what is it that it's communicating with you. So these changes that we're referring to are more significant during transitions from winter to spring and summer to fall, which, in this case, it's the latter for us. Your organs go through a reset process just like the rest of the nature around you. So what does that translate to? Your need for fuel, form of fuel, hydration level, and rest changes. Your mood and metabolism and immune system function fluctuate seasonally. Your brain works, the way your brain works also changes depending on the season. So I was reading this Belgian study where they measured brain functions in 30 adults in 4 seasons. And the way they did this was they basically kept these people for 4.5 days in the lab. They spent 4.5 days in the lab. And so they were not exposed to light or any of the seasonal cues. And then they measured their brain function. And they saw that during summer, more activation was present in the areas of brain responsible for performing attention tasks. And during autumn or fall, brain activity peaked in memory tasks. So what is it telling us? That perhaps we have more means to perform certain tasks more efficiently in one season versus another. Again, corroborating what we're saying, that the body, just like the environment, goes through these seasonal changes. So understanding that is important. And again, going back to what we discussed briefly earlier, that many of the recommendations that we will discuss today will benefit your health regardless of the season. So it's just about consistently putting these steps into place to establish good habits. They're also helpful to prevent you from getting sick, as well as to help you get over your sickness more efficiently, meaning both they're helpful for prevention and treatment. And what does prevention really mean? It means consistently taking steps towards building resiliency and strengthening your body so that you do not always have to be at the mercy of your external environment. It means not waiting until you cannot get out of bed before seeking treatment. And of course, what I'll be discussing with you today is by no means an exhaustive list. So, in accordance to what we were just saying, just because other people around you are sick, it does not mean you should get sick too. Now let's get to the meat of the presentation, which is on strategies to work in tandem with your body and nature. We're going to start with talking about circadian rhythm. In case you haven't heard of this term before or phrase before, your body has a master clock that determines your sleep-wake cycle. That's your internal clock. One of the main controllers of this master clock is exposure to light. So light is what is setting your internal clock. Through influencing your pupil dilation, your alertness, your heart rate, modulating your heart rate, your mood, and how you sleep. So natural light, or just daytime, which is blue light exposure, will increase the production of the hormone serotonin. There's a series of things that happen in order for serotonin to be produced by your pineal gland. We don't have to get into the details of it, but just know that that's what leads to production of serotonin to some extent. And serotonin, one of the things that it does, it plays a role in regulating your sleep-wake cycle. Further, serotonin is a precursor to your melatonin, which most of us know is our sleep hormone. We've heard of it. And so pineal gland uses serotonin to produce melatonin. And then lastly, the third hormone that we're going to discuss today discuss on this slide is cortisol, which is your stress hormone, and we know that. It also has a circadian rhythm, with its highest levels being secreted in early morning, responsible for getting us out of bed and feeling like, okay, in a healthy person, I can go and conquer the day, and lowest in the evening, where we unwind and begin to prepare to go to sleep. So why am I bringing especially cortisol up in this case? It's because if it's flipped, if this rhythm, going back to your circadian rhythm, is flipped, and the secretions are off, then we're going to end up with things like recurrent infections, immune dysfunction, fatigue, cravings, weight gain, insomnia, mood changes, and much, much more. We're going to briefly talk about sleep later on, but just keep these things in mind. So we talked about circadian rhythm. We talked about what was the signal for it. It was light. So as much as possible, expose yourself to nature. Get in natural light, breathing fresh air, boost your immune system function. There was a study that they looked at patients that were hospitalized, and there were two groups. The control group, where the room is just plain, and the other where there's a picture of nature in front of the bed where the patient is sleeping in. And the recovery time was faster in patients where it was not even a window with nature, being outside, a view of nature. It was just a painting of nature. So that's how powerful this can be. And for those of us who don't have an opportunity to go for walks in the forest, we can bring that elements into our daily lives. So how? By, let's say in this case, diffusing essential oils, eucalyptus, rosemary, peppermint, frankincense, and these are just some examples. not only do they not have that they have antimicrobial and immune boosting effects, but they play a role. And again, this is beyond the context of this presentation, but how they work with our nervous system. Ground yourself. What do I mean by that? Allow your feet to touch the earth. There's much research in this area of earthing. And in addition to many benefits that are that we can talk about, being grounded regulates our sleep-wake cycle, and it works with your autonomic nervous system. And for those of you who did not hear the biofeedback presentation and talk, please go and hear that, because we talked a lot about it. But it basically, we discussed how your autonomic nervous system has two branches: your parasympathetic as well as your sympathetic nervous system. Your sympathetic being in charge of fight and flight, parasympathetic being in charge of rest and digest. And we said that neither are good or bad. What we want is the balance between the two. We cannot survive without one not functioning. And so grounding works with that, and it helps to boost a little bit of the parasympathetic and lowering our sympathetic nervous system, which is the imbalance in most of us. And being in nature also reduces our physical and psychological stress. Less stress means less burden on the immune system, and your immune system is better able to respond to external stressors such as viruses. So, we talked about this in the other presentation as well. We said sometimes we're not in control of what's happening on the outside, but what we can do is equip ourselves to respond better internally. So this is what we mean by that. And you will see throughout the slide, anything that helps lower your stress, improve your sleep, improve your nutrition status, directly helps boost your immune system. So helping you with your stress is helping with your immune system. Nutrition. So remember, we're talking about the lifestyle factors. Eat fruits and vegetables with a variety of colors. Why? Because the colors indicate the different nutrients that each of these foods contain. And the more rich the colors are of these fruits and vegetables, the more packed they are with rich amounts of antioxidants and vitamins and minerals. And we will learn that vitamins and minerals are cofactors for every biochemical reaction that happens in your body. And we absolutely need them. And what are these biochemical reactions responsible for? For your detoxification, for hormone and neurotransmitter production, and for energy production. So we really, for us to stay in homeostasis, we need them. And actually to function optimally. Eat according to the season. Why? Because eating plants with higher levels of nutrients that have received adequate amounts of nourishment from the sun and the soil happens when we're eating things that are in season. They're fresh, and we're not having to deliver them from long distances. Bone broth. So most of us by now have heard of the benefits of the bone broth. I'm not claiming that it's the magic food, but it's very, very nutritious. It can be medicinal. It can help with healing the gut, reducing inflammation, rebalancing electrolytes, and hydrating you. And as always, we know that the source of ingredients matter. So because in this case, we're not talking about the vegetable, but the bone, where is the source of the bone? Is it from a pasture-raised, grass-fed animal? Because we don't want to be, with the intention of helping ourselves, be ingesting heavy metals and toxins into our body. And, there's a variety of recipes for making all kinds of amazing broths online. So check them out. Hydration and movement. I put them together on one slide because really for me, they're life. And because we're talking about change of season, and sometimes as we're moving towards the more cooling and cold seasons, we might not feel as thirsty. It's important to keep in mind that just because you might not feel as thirsty, it doesn't mean that your body does not need it. Remember, your body is majority made of water. fluid exists both inside each cell, and your cells are swimming in fluid outside. So definitely important to keep in mind. The form of it might be different. You might not be craving, and hopefully we're, in the season we're not drinking ice water or iced tea, but more warming fluids, but making sure that the hydration, we're keeping track of our proper hydration. Movement. Energy and mood are both directly connected to how much we move our bodies. And remember again that anything that boosts our energy helps our immune system. Movement increases circulation to the body. We know that. More circulation means more efficient delivery of oxygen and nutrients to the body, which means more energy. Also, when you have more delivery of oxygen and nutrients to the cells, you also have a more efficient taking away of the waste, So again, helping with energy, delivering nutrients and taking away the waste. Movement gets rid of stagnant energy in the body and helps circulate the lymph. So again, beyond the context of this presentation, but your lymph plays a big role in your immune system. We do not want a stagnant lymph or lymphatic system. So movement helps with that. It also leads to production of many good feel-good hormones and boosting of our immune system or your immune system. And I put sleep on there because I knew if I had created an entire slide, I would just be talking nonstop about it because that's how powerful it is. But it would not be a lifestyle, set of slides if I wouldn't talk about sleep. It's crucial for your brain health, for proper functioning of your immune system, for preventing excess release of stress hormones, and for regulating your blood sugar levels and energy, and much, much more. It's really underappreciated. We all know that we should be getting proper sleep, and most of us don't give it that to ourselves. So really do your best and give yourself the permission to rest. Especially, again, remember, as this season changes and we're moving towards the more colder seasons, your body might need a little bit more time for rest and recovery. Supplementation. So let's briefly talk about vitamin C, which is an essential micronutrient for humans, meaning your body does not produce it on its own. You have to supplement. You have to take it through food or supplementation. It supports the various cellular functions of both the innate and the adaptive immune system. And for you just can ignore that and just pay attention that it's important for various cellular function of your immune system. It's an antioxidant, meaning it donates an electron at the oral dose, and also lower IV doses, which we're going to discuss in a little bit. Because at some point it can become cytotoxic and pro-oxidant, but in this case it's antioxidant. It's protective against environmental oxidative stress. It nourishes the adrenal glands and involved in glycemic control, meaning it regulates your blood sugar level, and much, much more. Backtracking to adrenal glands, your adrenal glands are, amongst the things that they do, they secrete cortisol. Remember, we talked about cortisol has that rhythm of high in the morning and lower at night. And obviously cortisol is your stress hormone. So adrenal glands modulate and manage your stress. And vitamin C is nutritious and food for them. So that's why adrenal gland is mentioned there. Supplementation with vitamin C can help with both prevention and treatment of respiratory and systemic infections. Probiotics. We're hearing more and more about the role of microbiota in all facets of health. One of the major impacts of healthy flora, which again, flora refers to the population of bacteria in our gut. We have about 4 pounds of them. So the major impact of having a healthy flora is on your immune system. Probiotics are significantly effective in both disease prevention and treatment. Again, just like vitamin C. And remember, at the beginning of the talk, I stated that a lot of what we're going to mention are both for preventing and treating sickness. So you do not have to wait until you're sick to implement them. And I chose these factors on purpose. much can be said about, particularly about probiotics, and also bigger picture microbiota and gut flora. And we'll be talking about it in future talks and presentations. So continuing on supplementation, let's talk about vitamin D, which we now know is not just now, but we've known that it's not just a vitamin, but also a hormone with countless biological activities, and in very important ones. Vitamin D regulates the innate and adaptive immune responses. Low levels can be associated with increased autoimmunity, meaning when the body and when our body is attacking itself, and increases susceptibility to infection. It's also been shown to positively impact mood and seasonal affective disorder. So because vitamin D is fat soluble, unlike, let's say, vitamin C that we discussed, which is water soluble, having your levels tested before supplementation is a very good idea. So I highly recommend you working with a practitioner that can run blood work on you, measure your levels before you start supplementing it. Because it's a fat soluble, what it means is if you overdo it, there can be a toxicity associated with it. Most of us not have enough of it and are low in it, but still, even just to know where your dosage needs to be, run the test and make sure where you're at before you start supplementing. Black elderberry syrup, it's one of the best known anti-syrups for upper respiratory tract infections. You can take it to prevent and also to address acute illness. And we can, you can get it at most health food stores. Oxalococcinum, some of you might have not heard of it. It's a less known remedy. It's a homeopathic preparation that's used to assist in alleviating flu-like symptoms. And the way I, suggest is, and again, remember, this is, this is not a talk for you to be starting a treatment based upon. This is just to share information. But with oxalococcinum, if you feel like you're going to come down with something, some of us, feel it in our throat or our head, but we feel like something is not right, then you take one of the homeopathic vials and you put the sugar pills under your tongue, and 1 vial per day. But if you are already sick, you take up to 3 of them in 24 hours, and you continue taking until the symptoms resolve. So, lastly, let's talk about IV nutritional therapy or intravenous nutritional and vitamin therapy. So, IV nutritional therapy and vitamin injections deliver key minerals and vitamins at high concentrations directly into the bloodstream, especially we're talking in this case about IVs. What does that mean? Remember, we said vitamins and minerals are cofactors for biochemical reactions that are involved in every facet of life, from energy production to detoxification to hormone secretion and regeneration and more. And when you take something, a supplement orally, or you eat your food, it has to go through your digestive system before it can enter the body. And sometimes you're limited to how much you can take. Let's say in the case of vitamin C, you can only take so much before potentially you can have some GI symptoms. But when you're dealing with IV therapy, you can take these nutrients at a much higher concentration and directly into the blood. So you're bypassing the GI system or your gastrointestinal system. IV formulations or IV therapy and vitamin shots can help with boosting energy levels, improving cognitive performance, sleep, and address underlying mineral and vitamin deficiencies. Of course, that makes sense, right? Because that's what you're getting, plus the hydration in an IV bag. Vitamins and minerals are fuel for the adrenal, thyroid, and brain, adrenal gland, thyroid gland, and your brain, and can help to reduce stress. Again, remember we mentioned in the talk that when anything that helps with sleep, enhances your nutritional status, and reduces stress, is going to boost your immunity. And IV therapy has all 3 of them. So IV therapy boosts the immune system and improves healing, which also means that not only it can be preventative, but even if you're sick, it can help expedite the process of healing and coming, kind of getting back to being 100%. So you might ask, can't I not get all my vitamins by just taking oral supplementation? And a lot of, beyond, again, the context of this presentation, a lot of factors can compromise your ability to digest and absorb nutrients properly. That's why as naturopathic doctors, one of the main things that we always work with our patients, assess and evaluate and then work with them, is on their gut health. So in a healthy person, the answer to that question is yes. But most of us, whether because of age, because of chronic illness, because of many rounds of antibiotics or other medication that really, mess with our microbiota or flora, and our ability to produce enough enzymes and hydrochloric acid to digest, to break down and absorb our food, the answer is no, or not as optimally. So when we need aid, while we're working with patients or while we're working with people, or you yourself are working on improving your absorption and gut health, this can be very effective. This IV therapy can be very effective. So in the hierarchy, IV or intravenous therapy is better than intramuscular, which is better than oral for absorption of nutrients. And again, remember, at higher concentration. So the amount that you can put in an IV bag is a lot more than what you can put in an intravenous, in an intramuscular or IM injection, and that is a lot more than you can take orally. All right, so I hope this presentation was helpful to you guys. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me and us. You can visit us at conscioushumanmedicine.com. Again, conscioushumanmedicine.com. And my website at drmahboubeh.com. And it's DRMAHBOUBEH. You can contact us at our office at 424-331-0030. And of course, again, visit our website for information. And if you want to schedule a free 15-minute consult, please do that, either through our website or by calling us. And of course, you can write to us at conscioushumanmedicine@gmail.com. I look forward to the next time I chat with you guys and share more information.